In this video, we're going to talk about the last form that we can graph a quadratic in, and that is what we call either factored or intercept form. I like to call it intercept form just because it's going to give me intercepts. So here's the new form. Y equals a parentheses x minus p, and in my other parentheses, x minus q. The x-intercepts are going to be the letter P and the letter Q. Now, another word for x-intercepts is also zeros. So if anybody says, tell me the zeros, that just means tell me the x-intercepts. Now, you're going to notice in the parentheses it says negative P, but down here we have positive P. So you have to remember to switch the signs. And then same thing with Q. It says negative Q in the formula. And then down here we have positive Q. So once again, switch the signs for P and Q. Now the line of symmetry should be in the middle of the two intercepts. So if you're looking for the middle, you're looking for an average. And an average, remember, you just add the two items together and divide by 2. So it says line of symmetry is P plus Q divided by 2. So that's the new parts. So then let's go to our problems and start working. So in intercept form, I would start by finding the two x-intercepts. So P is negative 2, but when I write it down here, I have to remember to switch the sign, so make it positive 2. And the other one, Q, is positive 4, but I have to remember to switch the sign and write it as negative 4. So I'm going to plot those two on the x-axis. So here's 2 on the x-axis. And here's negative 4 on the x-axis. Now, the line of symmetry should be in the middle of those two dots. So if you want to count spaces on the graph, you could do that. Or if you want to use the formula, that's what I'm going to do. So line of symmetry, take the two x-intercepts, which are positive 2 and negative 4, and add them together and divide by 2. So that's going to give me negative 2 over positive 2, which is negative 1. Now, just like the last form, the vertex, this is the same x number as the line of symmetry. So negative 1, bam. And just like before, to find the y value, you got to go plug it in. So I'm going to come down here and I'm going to go negative 1 minus 2 in the first parentheses. And in the second parentheses, I'm going to do negative 1 plus 4. Type that into my calculator and that will give me negative 9. So I'm going to go put my dashed line in for the line of symmetry. Plot my vertex. And then just like before, we're going to make a t-table. And I'm going to go to the right of negative 1. So that would give me 0, 1. And then I don't have to put 2 on my t-table because I already have a dot because that was my x-intercept. And then just for fun, I'm going to put a third one on there. So now we're just going to go sub those numbers in. So 0 minus 2 times 0 plus 4, which gives me negative 8. So 0, negative 8, and reflect it over. And then I'm going to go plug in 1. And when I plug in 1, I get negative 5. So 1, negative 5. and then reflect that over. And then the last one for fun, I picked 3. And when I plug in 3, I come up with 7. And then reflect that one over. Boom. Boom. And of course, the last thing is the min or max value again. So this one opens up, so that means it's a minimum. And the lowest that it goes is the y of the vertex, which is -9. All right, let's try another one. X-intercepts. So remember to switch the signs. So that's going to be at -1 and +5. So here's -1 on the X and +5 on the X. Line of symmetry, we're going to average them. So -1 plus 5 divided by 2, which is going to give me 4 over 2, which is 2. So there's my dashed line. The vertex has the same X number, so that's 2. So now go plug in 2. And when you plug into your calculator, I came up with 18. Now, when you get ready to plot this, hopefully you've noticed that the y-axis does not go by 1. Your y-axis actually goes by 2. So your x still goes by 1, but your y goes by 2. Okay, and then we're just going to make a little t-table. Boom. And then to the right of 2 is 3, 4. I don't have to do 5 because 5's already an x-intercept. So now let's just go plug those in. So -2 times 3 plus 1, 3 minus 5, and that gives me 16. So 316, reflect over. Then plug in 4. And when you plug in 4 and you type that in, I came up with 10. So 4, 10, and reflect it over. And then I can draw in my U shape. And of course, the last thing, min or max. This one opens upside down, so that makes it a max. And the highest y value that it goes is 18. So on example number 2, this time I'm going to give you some information, and your job is to write an equation that is in factored or intercept form. So if I give you the x-intercepts, then this is P, this is Q, and the random point that it goes through is X and Y. So just like in our first lesson, you are going to be plugging in for everything except for the letter A. You must always solve for A first. So here's my form again. Y equals A, parentheses, X minus P, close my parentheses, X minus Q. So for Y, you're going to plug in 20 equals A, parentheses, X is -3. But now P, remember, P, you can't just put -2 because for P and Q, we always talked about how you have to switch the signs. So you're going to actually write it as +2. And then X, which is -3. And then for Q, don't write -1, switch the sign and write it as +1. So -3 plus 2 is -1. -3 plus 1 is -2. -1 times -2 is +2a. And then divide each side by 2, and we get a to equal 10. So now in your final answer, you plug in A, P, and Q. So y equals A, which is 10, parentheses x. Remember to switch the sign for P again. So plus 2, x, switch the sign for Q, plus 1. And you're done. And then once again, we're going to do some more word problems. Same thing as what we've been doing. It's just you're going to notice that the equation is in intercept or factored form, but I still give you the picture off to the side. So here we go. How far will the golf ball travel when it hits the ground? Okay, so it starts out at about 0. And then it goes to almost 250. So I'm just going to estimate that, and I'm going to say it goes to about 248. So what's the distance between 0 and 248? Well, that is 248. So once again, there is a little bit of leeway on that one. So I would write the answer as about 248 yards. Max height. So let's go find the vertex. So here's my vertex. And let's go follow that across. And that one looks like, to me, it's about halfway in between. So I'm going to say that is 155 yards. How many yards does it take to get to the highest point? So now that is following it down. And when I follow it down, to me, it looks like it's a little bit past 120. So I'm going to say about 122. So once again, a little bit of leeway on that one. And then the last one, how high will the ball be in the air when it is 100 yards into its flight? So then I come find 100. Right, so I come find 100. And I'm going to follow it up. Oh, hold on. Let me erase that. Let me make sure that we go back here. It says X is the horizontal distance and H is the height. Okay, so yeah. So we are trying to find how high. So I am telling you 100. So we were right. So go ahead and find 100. Follow it up until it hits my graph. Follow it across. And I would say 150 yards. And that's it.